Hello and welcome to another edition of Droppin Baums with me, your host, Corey Baumeister. As always, with the lovely people here at TCGplayer.com. So today I'm on location bringing you Grand Prix New Jersey's second place Boros Angels deck. A powerful deck full of mythics that just overwhelm your opponent. I will be playing 3 great matches, and then I'll have the links below here for TCGplayer.com. I'll have a sideboard guide written up. And I cannot be more excited to get into...
How did you get into my house?
Oh, Brad, I kind of let myself in. Do you want to play some games of Magic?
Sure, I love Magic.
All right, stay tuned. We'll have this guy join in.
Who are you talking to?
All right, and we're here with the games.
What up, everyone?
It's good to have you, bro.
I'm excited. I've been a fan for like 16 years.
16 years.
Yeah,
what about the rest of the years?
Not too much.
That's fair. That's fair. So round 1, we play against a pretty good player.
He has beaten me before.
Plenty of times for me as well. Pascal Maynard. Okay, but I think, I mean, you're the expert of this deck. It seems fine. Like, obviously we want a 2-drop, but...
It would be nice, but we don't know which 2-drop we ever want, and lands and spells kind of works.
Exactly.
Also, whenever I keep a hand with this deck, I like to do a mythic count. 3 is a pretty good one.
Is it possible to have a hand less than 3 mythics?
I have. I've had more as well.
Okay. Mono red, maybe?
I'm hoping Is It Spells, but there would have been a cantrip.
Yeah, he did play Is It Spells at the GP.
It
does. Ooh, mono red.
We don't have a 2-drop, so that could run away with the game.
And that's it for Brad, ladies and gentlemen.
Bye!
Yeah, that's going to be a bit of a problem here. Gonna be a bit of a problem. But, okay, so I think sequencing here for History and Resplendent Angel, I think is pretty, yeah, that's a little nasty. I think it's pretty straightforward here. I mean, you normally want to play Resplendent Angel like right before Lyra, right? To kind of get that interaction.
Or after.
Or after, yeah.
Or after.
That's spicier as well. Yeah, I suppose a Rekindling Phoenix or something here as the 4-drop into Lyra, into Angel would be a lot better.
It is a delight.
All right. You put 2 shocks in the deck. We probably should have had one of those.
I would have liked one. There's a lot of lands.
Oof. All right, History here, no decision.
No, I would play History. It's at least something like there's a good chance that Pascal has a removal spell, so at least we get a second night out of the deal. Plus, he would have to like present 2 more spells to get past that one run. Okay. Oh, this is spicy. Ooh. We're getting some tech right here.
Oh boy, front and center. And I think another reason there, like. Playing the History of Benalia, we left ourselves vulnerable to shock because our opponent had 1 mana open, so maybe there's some consideration to dodge the removal at an end step, but I don't think that's worth it. Getting this active for 2 turns is a lot more important.
Completely agree. So,
oof.
Yeah.
Mono red
with
phoenixes, huh?
Yeah, I'm interested. Oh no. Oh no. Oh, it's happening. Oh no.
I think we're going to have to take 4 here, there, Brad.
We're taking more than 4 here, Corey.
Correction, we're going to start by taking 4.
We might be dead.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, we should have had a removal spell.
That's pretty spicy that our opponent can discard Phoenix to a risk factor.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
Dropping from tournaments.
Well, I'm going to try to play this, and I don't even think there's a way we can survive.
I'm pretty sure we're not living through the turn.
No. I mean, it is a completely different game if we do Shock or Lava Coil that first runaway. You know, I mean,
for sure.
Yeah, like,
I mean,
even on the play... Maybe. That's some spice right there.
That is some spice. I mean, drawing 4 lands in a row in a hand that was already a little flooded with expensive cards is not really how the deck functions usually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Needs to be casting much more mythics, much more on time.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're just dead.
Straight dead?
Yep.
Okay, well... We'll try that again.
All right, let's go to sideboarding.
Okay, so sideboarding here. I mean, I think Seal Away seems insane.
I like it.
Yep. Ixalan's Binding, I think it's probably a little too slow against red, especially since they can discard the Phoenix and still bring it back. What do you think about that?
Well, this is interesting because this is not a Wizard red deck. So with Phoenix and Tormenting Voice, I think we want to approach this matchup, given that we only know 4 or 5 cards in the deck so far.
Yep.
I think we want to approach this matchup more like Is It Spells than Wizard red.
Yeah. No.
And so I think that a high density removal, yes.
Hello.
More on that later. So against Is It Spells, though, Adanto Vanguard is one of the best cards, but it's not good against red decks.
Yeah.
Because of Chain Whirler.
And we have to assume that his deck plays Chain Whirler. Yes. You know, I mean, there's no way it doesn't.
Yeah, I mean, you go 2 mana red to play Chain Whirler, so this is a deck that's trying to play spells stuff in a Chain Whirler shell. So I think that we actually want to take out all of our 2-drops. Our Honor Guards.
Honor Guards seem terrible, yeah.
I mean, Honor Guards are good against Chain Whirler, but you only play it when they also have Viashino Pyromancer.
Sure.
And I don't think that his deck will. So
no, I mean you have to fit in Tormenting Voice and you have to fit in Phoenix. I mean, it seems like the 2-mana 2/1 is probably the cut.
So I think we go big.
Okay. I mean, how big?
No, not that big. Not that big.
Okay.
Chandra has rotated.
Yeah, so Daredevil, I mean, we played plenty of games, and you did some mean stuff to me when I was playing Is It Spells with Daredevil.
Yep. All right, so another thing that I think we have to change is Resplendent Angel is such an easy target for removal. Like any, but I don't know how wizardy this deck is, so I don't think Wizard's Lightning is around, so there might not be a ton of removal for Angel, maybe just Lava
Wizardy a word, we think?
Wizardy is a word.
Okay.
Yeah. But I know that I want the 3 Clarions for sure.
Yep. Life linking our anything seems fine, like too big of a swing. So, probably just the Resplendent Angel, a couple of them? Or?
I think so. I think we just take out 2 Angels.
Yeah. And I mean, Justice Strike is still fine. It still kills everything.
Yes. Right. No, it's a great removal against red decks. So I think I do this.
I like this. You do still like 3 Aurelia?
Well, we need to win the game.
Yeah, okay. We can't just depend on Lyra.
We've taken a lot of threats out of our deck.
Okay. Seems fine.
I like it. So the
Seems
great thing about Direfleet Daredevil is it can be a 2-drop when you need it to. Well, it also is going to be a good top deck later in the game.
Sure. And I mean, like you said, for reasons why we play around Chain Whirler, this isn't something where we probably want to go turn 2 Direfleet, turn 3 Direfleet, right? I mean, like that's getting a little greedy here.
No, that is not something that I'm going to allow, actually.
Okay. All right.
No.
I'm sorry?
I wouldn't even played it. I would just played the Guildgate.
You wouldn't even played it?
No, wait. Like, we have a Phoenix. We have a threat. I don't think I put a threat into play.
Interesting.
Yeah.
You don't want to get aggressive at all here?
I don't think we can.
Okay. Well, yep. I like the mentality.
Yeah, I like the 2-for-1s.
Yep. Now, if we top deck history, we're going to feel real silly, right?
Yeah. Well,
we're going to need to kill this anyways. Yeah. Like, this card runs away, as you would say. Okay. Get this out of there. Play a Guildgate. Pass it back.
It is fun playing a deck with a ton of mythics and then Guildgates.
Yeah. Just feels wrong, right?
It does.
Usually by the time you have that many mythics.
But it does work well. Now,
this is great.
Yeah, I like just playing a Phoenix.
I think so too.
And then let whatever turn be, and then we have a Direfleet Daredevil for cleanup.
Yeah, it seems like what we want to, or what we're a little afraid of here is if he has like a Tormenting Voice turn where he can play Tormenting Voice plus 2 1-drops and then, get back to Phoenix or something like that. But us not getting on the board, I think, here is a little too scary for that,
Yeah, I also just like getting on the board because if this trades with Lava Coil, we want it to happen earlier in the game when we're not taking a lot of damage or we're behind. An investment of 4 mana into Lava Coil is stymied on this turn. Like, it's not that big of a deal, but later in the game, it can become a huge tempo swing.
And, I mean, very likely that Pascal has Lava Coils here. Just in the 75.
I don't think he does anymore. Because he just cast it.
Oh, okay. Okay. But it's a very high likelihood that not only are they in the list, but they're coming in against this.
Yes.
I mean, and I think getting a Lava Coil into his graveyard here now, so we open up this play, is a lot better.
Just like we drew it up.
Just like we drew it up. Yeah. Ooh.
I still like I like waiting on the Resplendent Angel.
Do you?
Yeah, I want to play it. Like, we could play it and play our own Lava Coil. But I kind of want to maybe find a situation where Pascal has run out of removal spells and we just get that lucky turn before one is drawn again that we like, Resplendent Angel is a great last resource.
Yep.
And so I just like playing the Daredevil and just Lava Coiling the...
Okay, I'll flip the coin on that. But Pascal has not had a good turn to play Goblin Chain Whirler yet. Don't you agree? Like, on turn 3, he just wanted to Lava Coil us, right? Or
turn 4, no.
Turn 4, okay. So I guess could have played it last turn. Yeah, I was saying I don't want to walk Direfleet Daredevil into the Chain Whirler that probably is going to be the next play, is the only thought process I have.
Well, I also just don't want Pascal to use that 2 mana for a Lightning Strike on Angel.
Sure, and there's no way that he's going to want to use this unless Shock without a Chain Whirler or something.
I'm fine with, if there's a Chain Whirler coming, I'm fine with it.
Okay, so we're just Direfleeting?
I like it.
All right. And yes.
Yes, in fact, I would like to use that spell.
A lot.
So for style points, I would have tapped both planes for the Lava Coil.
Of course, yeah.
Ooh, this is going to be a nice turn.
This is going to be quite nice. Lava Coils happen to be pretty good against Phoenix.
That's why I play 8.
You're a smart man. You are a smart man. All right. Yeah, I just think Lava Coil, Resplendent Angel, probably not even play the 6 land.
I wouldn't show it.
Yeah, exactly. So I think we're just going to attack first. No reason not to. Ooh, shock, huh? We could shock the Phoenix. Not as good of an answer, though.
I don't like it.
I don't like it at all. Okay, so we'll get that out of there. We'll play this and hope that just wins the game, right?
We're hoping. It can.
These Mythics, you were just kind of hoping that one of them sticks, huh?
Yep.
All right, there's that beautiful combo.
And now our Mountain can get Tormenting Voiced.
Yes. Smart. Yep. Oh. Now it's risky, right? I mean, like, pumping here is just so risky.
Especially because we have a Tormenting Voice that we can grab and it's so tempting. But
it is.
But if we don't go for it, then next turn... Pascal Tormenting Voiced a Phoenix instead of just casting it. So that makes me...
And then played a land. Yeah.
So a land was drawn for sure.
For sure.
So I'm guessing there's another land.
I would guess... Yeah, because with all the jumpstart, there's no way... If that was Pascal's only land and has 2 other burn spells that he would play it. You know? So I think you're right on that assumption, but it could easily be land Lightning Strike. And then we tempo ourselves out super bad right now. I think we just send and then Direfleet and Tormenting Voice.
If Pascal had that, though, wouldn't...
Lightning Strike while we were tapped out?
Yeah.
Probably, because it's so scary if we go land 6. Does Pascal really care about the tempo swing? Like, that's what we have to evaluate here. Do you think Pascal values a 1-turn tempo swing more than just killing a threat that can get him? And I think the answer is no. You don't risk that, in my opinion.
And also, where I go is whenever I'm recording, whenever I'm in a tough decision, I always default to what's the coolest.
What's the coolest?
The coolest is just getting in. Let's do it.
Let's do it. Now you can attack. We're going to wait for blocks, of course.
Yeah.
And let's go for it.
Oh! No! Pascal Bernard.
And the nice thing that we get to do when we're recording, whenever I'm recording with someone else, I always get to blame the mistake that didn't go well on my co-host.
Oh no!
Oh no! Oof! Oofta.
We still have 2 bindings that we can dig for.
Yep. Well, we're gonna draw some cards. That is pretty good with Phoenix too. Wow.
Well, it seems tough to do it all the time, but
yeah.
Yeah, we should have brought in that 3rd binding.
I think you're right. All right, let's draw some cards.
All right. It's fine. I mean, sometimes... Yeah, I would play the land, though.
Yeah.
Sometimes, because we could draw another 4-drop.
Sure.
Sometimes when I play against Experimental Frenzy, I can overpower it with big monsters. Like, he just...
Yeah.
This might be a land slot.
Yep.
And it's a little variance of a card, but we have a lot of powerful cards. So if we draw another good...
Not terrible, not great.
No.
And we get to get in there for some damage. All right, we're going to pump this. Hiya.
Right.
And Aurelia is a very tough card to kill out of mono red.
Yes.
You know, I mean,
tough.
with Frenzy, it gets even a little more awkward because you see one removal and you want to aim it at it, but you don't want to look silly and not draw the second one.
That is exactly correct.
Yeah.
I've been afraid of this card in other matchups, but this is one where, see exactly right here.
Yep.
Just, it's not worth the risk.
Mm-hmm. Tormenting Voice gets a little awkward with Experimental Frenzy.
Yeah, I've thought about things like that too.
Yep.
Yeah, just
Going at
look
us.
at that. Look at that.
Yep.
Could have taken Aurelia down.
Yep. Yeah, I don't like our position right now, though.
You don't?
I don't.
I do.
I don't. I mean, once we get Lyra on top, then I love it. But...
Going for it now.
Oh, no.
Going for it now.
All right.
Well, so Pascal did that because he believes that he's going to get this 3 damage.
Yeah.
But he's not.
I mean, there's no point in even faking to block here.
No.
All right. That's not great. Not great.
Well, 4-turn clock. We're at 13.
I think I would still favor Pascal without a draw.
Without drawing, yeah.
Yep. Uh-oh.
Everyone cross their fingers. Everyone cross their fingers.
Okay. We'll have to let that happen.
Yeah, we're just going to have to take this damage.
Lyra on top. Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
Boom. Not bad.
I'll take it.
Not bad, not bad. Okay, we're going to get on in there for 4 again. Hiya.
And we have lethal next turn.
All right. No reason to play another land here. I mean,
No.
you know, there could be a situation where Pascal could Tormenting Voice. We could get a Daredevil. I mean, very unlikely situations here, but...
The only... Oh, there is some wizard stuff in here.
So, Wizard Red.
With Tormenting Voice and Arclight Phoenix.
Okay.
That is interesting.
It is interesting.
I don't know if Arclight is better in this deck than Rekindling, but with... I don't know. It's is this a...
Oh. We'll see you next round. We'll see for round 2 to hopefully improve on this. All right, we're back for round 2. Hopefully we can do a little better.
Yeah, I mean, this time we won the die roll. That's a start.
That's huge.
Now we can see our hand.
And we're going to have a 2-drop.
Let's see it. We have 3 2-drops. 3 of them.
Have keep
How do we lose?
Obvious mulligan here. All right. Need a little help?
2-drop.
We got to keep that, right?
Oh,
like,
for
even
sure.
not being able to cast our 4-drops, all we need is 1 land within the top 3 turns. I think that seems like a no-brainer. That card is just too good.
All right, so let's see our matchup. It's always interesting. Ooh, another mountain.
Another spicy red deck. Okay, well, no 1-drop is still good.
Yeah. Adanto's Vanguard is not the greatest card in this matchup.
Not the greatest. Seems like more of a liability. You know, I mean, like, if our opponent shocks it right now, what do? I mean, we still pay for that, right? But
I think you have to pay for the first time no matter what, because it might not be. It could be Is It Spells where it's your best card.
Yep. And I mean, that's a common play.
Oh!
Nice.
Now it's the best card of the matchup.
Yep. And that's a common line that, as an Is It Spells player, that I do very often. Your shocks just become, chars.
Yeah.
You know? I mean... All right. Okay, that's good. We're going to get on in there. The one thing I don't like about this deck so far, I can't have 6 with this card.
No. No.
I can't ever have 6.
You have to be on alert at all times. I don't even like to leave I don't like to not look at it because what if I turn and it's just targeted?
And it's already gone. Yeah, exactly.
The best part about it though is when you play it live, I realized at the Grand Prix that every time that it would be destroyed, I would just be like, hit the table and I'd be like, pay for.
I believe I watched your finals match where you attempted to pay 8.
And I was at 5. I was a little checked out. It was like turn 20 in a control matchup.
Yeah.
Oh, Tonto Vanguard has... Why would they do that?
To get to jumpstart it for a Phoenix here. Yep, exactly.
Cool.
Yep.
I mean, it's a complete waste of a lot just to deal 3, but...
It is, but, I mean, you have to be getting in there your damage here. I think it's a fine play. Obviously, it's one of the few ways to do it on turn 3.
That is interesting.
Yep. Mm-hmm. I mean, without a turn 2 Tormenting Voice or Chart the Course, that's your only way.
I guess it is just a ritual, pretty much, to get it into play. That's not even that bad.
Pretty much, yep. I mean, it's just one card.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, you're only losing one card because you already want to discard this. Mm-hmm. Okay, so now
I wish we didn't draw that.
Yeah, we have some plays here. We have 3 different good plays here. So I mean, Lava Coiling the Phoenix, playing a Vanguard seems good. I think the play I want to do least is play Rekindling Phoenix.
Because let's talk through all the lines because these are all interesting. So why don't you want to play Rekindling Phoenix?
So Rekindling Phoenix, I think, is a play that, although it blocks extremely well to the Phoenix, a lot of these decks are playing Lava Coil in higher numbers. And that seems to be the only way to interact with that profitably, but a very common card that our opponent can have here. Aurelia, with the 5 toughness here, and the fact that we get to boost the Vanguard to get in extra damage, I think is a great play. And then Lava Coil to just get rid of it and play another Vanguard to really make next turn, huge. We're putting our opponent to 14 this turn if we make that 3rd play. And then the turn after, we're attacking for 6, 7, 8. Still a 3-turn clock. I would lean towards just Aurelia. What do you think here?
Good. The student has become the teacher. And now the reason why I'm going to go Aurelia on this turn is because while the Arclight Phoenix is scary, what ends up hurting us for the next turn is if our opponent just plays a Crackling Drake.
Yeah.
And I want to be able to Lava Coil that. Also, because even if we play Aurelia into a Crackling Drake, that means that we can only effectively attack with 1 Vanguard. Whereas we could even attack into it next turn with both of our threats because of the mentor ability.
And when you say mentor ability, what do you mean by that? Like, what do we do with Aurelia during our combat in this sequence?
When Aurelia can attack next turn, it becomes a 4/5 and giving the Adanto Vanguard +1/+1.
Okay.
For at least 1 turn, it's able to do that. So yeah, let's play the Aurelia and get in for 5.
And I think another thing too, another very observant thing that anybody should look at when they see these type of spell decks is this is a very important card. Seeing this almost guarantees that our opponent doesn't have Goblin Electromancer. And when they don't have Electromancer, the deck needs a higher density of threats. So almost for sure our opponent is not only playing Crackling Drakes, but Enigma Drakes. And with Enigma Drakes here, another thing that we want to save these for. These are annoying. They are sure annoying, but they don't block well. And what really kills us are these X4s.
Yeah, the X4s get frightening, especially in multiples.
Okay, so we're going to cast this Aurelia. We're going to mentor it for the very useful Vigilance ability here. It's going to be doing a lot of blocking next turn.
I mean, at least with Vigilance, it can be on guard for its own ability. We can have 6; it'll protect itself, right?
That's true. That's how it works.
That's how untap works.
Yep, because we're very vigilant to the ability. Yeah. Now, Crackling Drake here, and we're just super happy, right? It looks like it's going to be a discard of Phoenix double 1-drop. We just don't want to see Shock. Shock is what scares us here. Okay, that's fine.
So yeah, neither Drake can attack.
Yep, it's just defensive Phoenixes here.
But one is going to be coiled by some element.
Yep. And now one popular thing against this deck, like just attacking Vanguards into Phoenixes, usually not the most heads-up play, just because it is very rare that our opponent doesn't have the ability to cast 3 instants or sorceries again. You know? So, I mean...
Well, I look at it the other way.
Yep.
The way I look at it is, if that happens, when I'm at a high life total, they're forced to play 3 spells next turn.
Yeah.
So if I don't attack with it and they play a Drake...
Sure.
And now I can attack into the Drake alone, and so let's just do the math. They're at 12. Mm-hmm. If we Lava Coil attack with both creatures, we both lose 4 life, going to 8. Mm-hmm. Crackling Drake is no longer a play. They have to have 2 creatures in play.
But remember, Crackling Drake is not the only play that they could have here. They could have Enigma Drake plus the haste spell. Sorry, I forgot that all of a sudden. Could have maximize velocity plus 1 more sorcery spell. I mean, it just can't be enough, right? Like
it's
3,
not enough.
4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, it's only 7. Yeah, it's not even close.
There's no way to get 2 creatures into play unless it's another Phoenix turn, which is annoying, but not the end of the world.
Yeah, yeah.
So I think we attack with both.
Yeah, but I think we Lava Coil first.
I would, yes. Sorry. I'm getting ahead of myself after we discussed it for 3 minutes.
Okay, so we have to target Aurelia here.
Well, yeah.
Okay. Oh, no, Brad.
There was not a lot of velocity, even though it was maximized.
Do you know what we call that game right here? A Droppin
Breaking Brad. Oh.
We'll work on that later. Breaking Brad. Oh, yeah. Okay, all right.
it's the spin-off.
Yeah, I like it. I like it. Okay, so I'm gonna sideboard here the way I think. I've been putting a good amount of time with Is It Spells lately. I played it at the last GP where Brad played Boros here. I'm just going to pick the cards that are the scariest against me.
So while you sideboard, can I just glare at you judgmentally?
I mean, is there any other way that you do? Okay. So these. I think this card's good. All right. I needed that reassurance. Yeah. So what I'm really leaning on here...
More. Bring in more.
Bring in more here. I would not bring in any of these cards here. Am I wrong on that assumption?
Yes.
You bring in Fight with Fire? Yeah. Okay. I suppose you just want to maximize any way to kill these crackling Drakes, right?
So the lesson to be learned here is an Is It spell deck. We have a minute and a half, so I'll do this quick.
Sure.
An Is It spell deck has a much easier time finding threats than we do answers, so I like to maximize on them.
Okay.
And the same can be said about one thing. Now, I'll just say it quick because we have a minute left.
Yep.
But we talked about this at the tournament.
Yep.
One of the interesting things about this matchup is I thought Rekindling Phoenix would be great, but the more I played is they also have a great time at finding their 4 lava coils.
They do.
And it's a horrible tempo play in my opinion. So
yep.
I like to take out the Rekindling Phoenixes and the shocks, even though it seems counterintuitive to keep Resplendent Angel in over Phoenix. I like to keep my deck as lean as possible, double spell as much as possible, and keep up with them. And because we have so much removal, I just always want to have a stockpile of it.
Okay. And we got 43 seconds here, and we can talk about this into the game. But first of all, why do you like this card in general, and especially a 4 of, and why do we like it in this matchup? I'm going to submit here just because this is what we would do, right? We like it. I think all these cards seem great. Yep. Okay.
I keep in the shocks if it's not the Enigma Drake variant.
Yes. Yeah. And or if it's not the Electromancer variant, right?
Or if it is the Electromancer.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. So why do you like the card in this matchup?
So Direfleet Daredevil is a phenomenal card in this matchup for 2 reasons. It allows you to have more removal spells, and like we saw against Red in the first match, we didn't win, but in these matchups...
We got unlucky. We can safely say that. Pascal, he got lucky. But
Direfleet Daredevil, it's so important to have removal in these matchups, but I don't want to flood on the effect.
Sure.
And Direfleet Daredevil is a removal spell that also lets me use their card advantage against them when I'm flooding on removal or lands.
Yeah.
And it's just
and takes the spell out of the graveyard.
Sometimes taking one of the jumpstart cards is great. I've just found that the way that I'm configured, I haven't even played close games. I have to get really unlucky, like miss my land drops or flood. If I'm ever casting spells in this matchup, I am crushing them.
Sure.
Because I have every removal spell.
I beat him in a couple of test games.
That is true. I only had 3 Daredevils in those, though.
Oh, that was the big difference? Yeah, not play skill or looks or anything like that?
That's both, yeah. But I will say that the dirtiest thing I've done with this deck is on turn 4 after attacking with the Dent of Vanguard, I played Direfleet Daredevil and chart the course.
Oh my god!
It's I had more cards than my opponent and a better board. It was unfair.
A 2/1 body that draws you 2 cards
on turn 4.
That's the way Richard Garfield intended it, right? So I think this hand's fine. You know, I mean, it answers stuff. We don't have an aggressive element, but this is kind of what you hope for, right? Like you need to be answering instead of committing to the board more. I would say. So
when I'm opening my hands, the thing about Boros is because you don't get to manipulate your deck. Your opening hands are so important.
Yeah.
And I'm looking for this kind of hand. I get to develop my mana base. I get to cast removal spells.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, like, the only thing we're really afraid of here is just Flood. And you can't really mediate Flood with a Boros deck. Like, it's almost...
Direfleet Daredevil does help with the card advantage.
That's true. That's true.
It gives us more things to do with the mana.
That's fair. All right, so Sacred Foundry tapped. We only need 1 more land to do everything we need in this deck, right? Like Resplendent Angel to activate for 6 is the top of the end of the deck.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
we got a chart.
We just need a creature to attack.
Yeah. And then Phoenix.
Okay. No, we're not that afraid of that. We do have the Seal Away.
I would not. Yeah, I would.
Just the Retreat is where you would line up, right?
I actually I like to play. It's a weird mind game with mana. We can cast all our spells no matter what all the time.
Sure.
But I always think that there's a little trick, and maybe I shouldn't even be telling it.
You're giving away your secrets.
I'm giving away a secret.
You know we're on camera, right, Brett?
I regret already starting this path, but I have to go through.
You've already in? Give away your secrets, please.
Whenever somebody plays like basic, and then a dual land, it's almost like they top deck that dual land.
Okay.
So sometimes if you're flooding, you can make it kind of look like maybe you have all your spells by playing a retreat and thinking that you top deck that land.
Okay.
So
makes sense why it always looks like you're getting lucky. You're just you're making it look like you're getting lucky the whole time. Wink.
Yeah, I just think that there's often a lot of players will play all of their best lands into all of their worst lands.
Yep.
When you can deviate that to play into those play patterns that people are already so commonly used to.
Sure, and I mean that's what I do. I mean I always just want to get my mana base as perfected as fast as possible.
Yeah, but it just never matters with this deck because once you have your 2 colors, you have your 2 colors.
Sure. That makes sense to me.
And yeah, they do have a last land, but they would have to have one of their 3 ops. I mean, I want them to have.
I do as well. I don't want to have a non-seal away turn. All right, so our opponent did not manage to sneak a Phoenix in. Here, I just think Sacred Foundry tapped. I mean, unless you got any other land secrets.
No.
Okay. All right, and
I mean, this does give away that we have Seal Away.
Yeah. It really does.
Because we didn't play it on turn 2.
Or we top decked it. You know, I mean, that's a possibility. And just didn't have a 3-drop. Crackling Drake.
Come on, Binding.
Yep. Yeah, getting a Binding down against these decks that have no way to interact with it is a very rough thing. I mean, I think we just play Aurelia here.
We have to. I mean, this could get rough. This draw is not coming together. Now I'd play that.
Yep. Yeah, I agree with you. But, you know, I mean, even if our opponent can play the density of threats and get the Phoenix down, more than likely it still has to hold back on defense. And then, more than likely, this Crackling Drake is going to get in and deal us some damage.
It's going to happen.
Yeah, but we have the Seal Away for that the next turn. We can start attacking. Like I don't think we're in a super rough spot here. No. Ooh, just a setup turn. We're fine with that. So now that kind of shuts us down from attacking, unfortunately. Ooh. All right. I mean, that's just going to attack her 1. Actually, that's great. We wanted that to happen. Now we get to attack.
Both?
Interesting.
I don't mind it.
I don't see how that attack makes any sense, though.
No.
In general, like, this should just for sure stay back.
We're attacking for 8 next turn as well.
Yep. Attacking for 8 next turn?
Or I guess we can do double seal away, but I kind of want to attack for 8.
And explain to me how we can attack for 8
Okay,
here.
so an option we have is to play Daredevil, hit maximum velocity targeting it, attack with both. Aurelia triggers on herself and Mentors on. But Crackling Drakes are scary.
Yep.
So maybe we just have to take down both. I say taking down both Drakes.
I think taking down both and then just playing a Sacred Foundry tap. Oh, yeah, because, I mean, like, why don't we want to wait till we can get, like, a little bit of a combat trick? You know, I mean, like, if we're not... This is going to have Vigilance. So if we're going to attack... They're only 4/4s now. We can force our opponent to put more spells into the graveyard, commit more to the board, and then, you know, theoretically get a bigger blowout. Like, why don't we want to do that?
Because there's so many risks involved. There's not attacking into Sillaways. There's dive downs. We get a chance to control the Drake right now. We're blowing up our opportunity of getting our opponent to cast spells without knowledge of how the game's going to play out. But then we give up the opportunity of guaranteeing removal spells. Yeah. And now I am scared of another creature getting maximum velocity next turn, a third creature. But
they're not that big. You know, I mean, they're not that big yet. You know, I mean...
They could get big.
They could get big, but, I mean, 4 mana at the minimum is what our opponent is going to need to cast a Drake and maximize velocity of that. That's only leaving our opponent with 2 extra mana to do something. You know, that's 2 extra spells into the graveyard or something. So I don't think we're that afraid with that. So I like the seal away play here. Come seal away. Come seal away. Come and seal away with me.
After my 1000th game of blue-white control versus red-black aggro, I was...
Because Brad played blue-white aggro at that Pro Tour and I played red-black, and we both needed to test the matchup. Yeah. I think we were both very much sick of playing those matchups by then. All right, we're going to boost this, get in some damage. And now we're opening the door to not have much removal.
See, we don't have removal. We haven't drawn any.
You mean they haven't drawn any?
Both of us.
Yeah.
We haven't had, neither players had a reason.
Yep. You know a card that I'm actually afraid of that didn't see much play out of the blue-red spells deck that would actually be quite bad for us right now? Blink of an Eye.
Yeah.
I think that card would be great. You know, I mean, Blink of an Eyeing with Kicker here, maximize velocity, get a chip shot of a good chunk of damage in here. I think it would be fine. Okay, so this is the situation that we kind of talked about last turn. This is the max amount of damage they can do to us, which is 7. You know, attacking for 7 is, scary though still.
Yeah, no, we're in I think we're in high risk of playing a third game.
And that is another maximized velocity here. Wow.
Oh, another one?
Yep. Getting in there. Yeah, okay. I mean, nothing we can do about that. We just got to take that. Yep. Yeah, we really want like a Lava Coil or a Seal Away or an Ixalan's Binding.
No, not that.
How about a second Legendary Angel?
So, we have a couple options. We can chart a course.
Yep.
And try to find Lava Coil.
Or Seal Away.
Or a third Seal Away. But yeah,
that's what I was leaning on here. Yeah.
We have 6 outs to it, and I think we have to take them.
I think so. And just because, even if we don't find it, unless our opponent has something else here, like with the...
We're dead to another Drake.
Yeah, we're dead to another Drake. I think we're even dead to another Phoenix. Yeah, we're dead to another Phoenix as well. Because our opponent can maximize velocity one of the Phoenixes, and then that's 7 damage on the crackback. I think we just have to risk it. Now, is there any mentality to Direfleet Daredeviling before we attack? Like, nothing we can gain by doing it beforehand, right? Like, I mean, finding a Lyra for pre-combat is something, but obviously we won't have the mana for it. So I think we just attack first.
We want the card advantage.
Yeah.
There is the option of opting, actually.
Okay.
Because that lets us hit Fight with Fire.
Okay. So 2 extra outs
two extra out for one less
looking at the same amount of cards.
Yeah. And we have
I don't like it. But I see the mentality for it. Because, I mean, we're seeing the same amount of cards with Chart the Course and Opt. Needing to find one answer. You know?
But it opens it up for 8 outs.
2 extra outs,
8 outs instead of 6. And if we brick, then we at least get to play history and hope we don't die.
Yeah.
I like that. I just want to opt.
Okay, I like it. All right. It's a weird sentence to say, all right, let's just opt first in our Boros deck. All right, we'll try to cast an opt here.
All right, so we're looking for any removal spell.
Anything. That won't do it.
That's the bottom. All right, just play history and hope we live.
Yeah, not great here.
Because now we have to chump block if our opponent has nothing.
Yep. And you know, I mean, there is a high chance that our opponent has something like Lava Coil, just because we haven't given them a good target, and we actually wanted Lava Coil to be cast. You know, I mean, yeah, Beacon Bolt's a great card. That'll just be lethal.
Yeah, that'll be taking us to game 3.
Alrighty.
All right.
Beacon Bolt's a good card.
It is. So, on the play... I like to go to 2 Phoenix, 2 Angels. It gives us a little bit...
2 Aurelia Angels, right? Or 2 Lyras?
No, all of those. 2 Resplendent Angels.
Oh, okay.
I like to cut... Now that we're on the play, I feel like we have more time for that.
There's no thought process to going down to 2 of these?
Well, there is, but I think the card is just too good.
Okay.
It's just so fast. It deals 2 damage the turn it comes into play. It reduces the clock so fast. It deals the 3 extra damage every turn with any early creature.
Sure.
I just think it's too good of a card.
Okay.
But yeah, this is what I like to do on the play in this matchup.
Okay. And so Honor Guard is definitely a Golgari card. Is there any thought process to bring this in to shut down Crackling Drake's activation?
Well, it shuts down our Direfleet Daredevils.
That's probably not good, huh?
I don't think so.
Okay.
And it's also just a 1/3.
That's true. We want to be committing stuff and killing stuff.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
That card is mainly great against Golgari and Selesnya. I love it.
Yep.
I love it.
Lots of removal.
Because this hand now, look at Direfleet Daredevil, it's going to draw cards.
Yeah. Yep.
Like it's going to be like a third turn play that just cantrips.
Exactly. And we have one more removal spell than we did the last game, and all we needed was one more. Yep. You know, I mean...
Well, we might have needed another one. Like, we didn't have an early creature, so we didn't put our opponent under pressure, so they had extra turns.
Yeah. Our opponent is playing a list with a lot of maximized velocities, so they really can just come out of nowhere, but that's where this card shines. And that gives me the reason to, anytime we need to kill a creature, using this first. Because, like, this is going to be our late game trick when our opponent taps out and kind of goes for it, you know? Yeah. Alrighty. I mean, no reason to play this, right?
No.
We just want to be drawing as many removal spells for our opponent. Because the Is It spell deck just has a low density of threats, but it'll get there eventually. But it can run out pretty easily. Yeah.
So here, if we draw land, we're definitely playing Angel.
Oh, yeah. Being able to chart the course, yeah.
It depends on the discard, but it's just a mountain. But yeah, so now we're definitely playing Angel.
Unless we draw history, right?
Yeah, if we draw history, we do that. Oh, but we just do it.
No. What? How many of these did you play?
Too many.
I believe that's Brian Bronduin's fault, right?
It was Brian Bronduin's fault. All right, yeah. Let's just get that Angel to play and hope we draw a land.
Agreed. And even it's a very popular sequence next turn for our opponent. Just go Enigma Drake, and then if we don't draw the land, we fight with fire. Right? You know, I think that's completely reasonable lines here. I mean, that's what I would like to do if I was in the Is It spells.
Well, and that's why I like so much removal and card advantage in Direfleet, because we get to at least be more reactionary to their strategy.
Exactly.
Like, now we get to, like...
Yeah, and I think this seems fine.
Oh, it seems more than fine. I like it. Because now if they play Crackling Drake, we have the Ixalan's Binding.
I was trying to make it go easy a little bit on our opponent here. I mean, it seems great. It seems like we are off to a great start.
Yeah. I think this matchup's very good.
I think it is, too.
I played the deck 4 times this weekend, and I only lost 1 sideboard game.
Yep.
And that was because of, like, a transformational sideboard as well. Like, I didn't know what matchup game 1 was over so quickly that I didn't know the matchup.
Sure. Yep.
All right, well... That's fine, because now we have
we have the option. Yep,
and it can now our Direfleet can turn back into a removal spell.
Yep,
and
perfect.
So like we've all game this card has looked great. Like,
that's interesting here.
I think I slam history.
you slam history. Really? Give me your reasoning on that. My mentality initially goes to being as mana efficient as possible.
So mana efficiency isn't as important
in a deck full of mythics.
Well, it's so I think it's like a little more complex than that, because mana efficiency is allowing our opponent to tap 3 mana for a Beacon Bolt next turn.
Sure.
Like they can play a card advantage. I guess they have 3, so they'd have to play. Oh, they'd have to get to 2 more in the graveyard before Bolt comes down, right?
Yeah, I mean, the only chance that could work is Chart a Course, discard
a spell.
Well, you could Chart a Course, discard Beacon Bolt, and then discard a spell. But yes, it would involve Chart a Coursing or 2 1-mana cantrips and then a Beacon Bolt.
I also think that Aurelia will deal 4 every turn.
Yeah.
And we might have to play removal spells, or we might want to play Direfleet in the next couple turns.
Sure.
Whereas History is going to deal only 2 the first turn, and then 8 the next turn, and then 4 for the additional turns. It deals more damage. It has more damage output.
Okay, I like it.
I believe this is a better play.
Yeah, I think it is very close, though. I really do think it is close. Like, I think our opponent would have to stretch to kill Aurelia.
I also think that...
yeah, I think we should go for it.
Just History?
Just History, yeah. I like your mentality behind it. Pretty unlikely that our opponent still has shocks in, but, you know, our opponent doesn't know the specifics of the list, and would be pretty likely to keep in shock if they saw histories. But I tended to bring in Beacon Bolts instead of shocks, you know, just because you have to be killing Lyras.
So our opponent seems to be flooding a little bit here.
Yep. Similar to game 1. Okay, I really think this is a pretty good Chart the Course turn.
Oh.
Maybe? No, I think Aurelia is better. And
do you think our opponent has Disdainful Strokes in? Sometimes they do, and I feel like I don't want to play into it this turn.
That's true.
There's 5 mana up on their turn. Like, it could also... Let's just... I say we just go to a combat.
Yeah, I think you're right. Because that is really the only way we fall behind here.
Yeah, and if they have, like, a Fire Cannonade, we weren't getting the extra trigger off Aurelia anyway.
Yep.
To draw cards, so we might as well just... we're not losing anything. We're not losing any equity in making the option.
Sure.
If that's the spell. It just gives our opponent more information.
Nice thing about Fiery Cannonade, that's a pirate.
It is a pirate.
That's why you planned. That's the only reason you played it, right? Just to avoid Fiery Cannonade. Not the sick ability that you've been doing to people.
It's the ability. They did. Oh no! People are gonna learn today. People are gonna learn a lesson.
Let us attack, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think it's time to chart the course.
Someone learned a lesson today.
Look at the flavor we're doing here, Brad.
Yeah.
A pirate charting the course?
Well, look, it's grabbing the chart.
Oh, my God.
It charted a course to the treasure.
I think this should just be a game win on pure flavor, right?
I could see a concession coming.
It's just like, no.
Yeah. That is a...
And taking away from Beacon Bolt here is not a nothing to scoff at.
No, it really is irrelevant. It's usually relevant removing cards, except for like actually removing the jumpstart cards from the graveyard. I've done that a few times.
Oh yeah, that's great. Yeah.
I
mean, even just hitting a Beacon Bolt, you know. I mean, this hitting a Beacon Bolt. I mean, I guess we don't. Beacon Bolt targets or has. It counts our graveyard, right?
Oh no, I don't use it. I'll sequence it while tapping on my mana just to exile. It's like a Death Court Scavenger for the turn. Which is also one of my favorite cards in Standard.
But I'm saying if there's an opportunity where we could Direfleet, Daredevil, Beacon Bolt down a Drake, but that probably is not very likely with the amount of... Or it's actually probably impossible, huh?
No, we have Lava Coils and Justice Strike.
I guess. We need a lot of them.
Alright, so Tormented Voice hit a mountain. So our opponent's probably going to have a pretty good turn next turn, but we are going to...
I mean, there's also a chance that our opponent is just spinning the wheels because the deck has a lot of just card draws. So, I mean, you know, there's plenty of times when our opponent just does not have the draw that they need.
Yeah.
All right.
I forgot we had a history. Oh, yeah, we lost both. All right.
Okay, well, I think it's Aurelia and get in for some extra damage.
For sure. And we have Silhouette up.
Yeah. Just the next 4 cards we get to counter. Yeah, and this is Disdainful Stroke proof.
Yeah, another thing about having a bunch of removal in this matchup is removal kind of trumps every strategy they have if they bring in their dive. The only one that seemed interesting to me was Thud. because it gets around removal.
Yep.
But it's not that good because you have to have so many cards in your graveyard. You've had to have dealt damage. And it's much like Banefire against control. Some games, it's just not going to matter.
Yep. And you kind of have to nickel and dime them to get where Thud is good. Otherwise, it's just a very dead card.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's annoying. That's slightly annoying as well. I mean,
we're just going to play a long game now.
Yep.
And we have a lot of good threats, even if they have a bolt. Keep it.
All right.
We might want a Tormenting Voice.
Yep, exactly. Holding in for the long haul here. Ooh. Yeah, well, that's okay.
That is going to Ixalan.
Come on down to Ixalan. That's a pretty good answer for Niv-Mizzet.
It is. The deck has a lot of answers to Niv-Mizzet.
I'm gonna play this land here.
Yeah, we can still fight with fire and stuff. So yeah, we only need to keep one land
in hand at all time. Yep. Ooh, triple blue. Is our opponent trying to cast a Niv-Mizzet?
I hope not.
I think they were.
No.
Okay.
That's not happy. I'm not happy. I don't want to lose. I've never lost this matchup. Draw good cards.
I never have lost either. Okay, now I think this is still a point where we use Lava Coil because we want to try to avoid as many dive downs as possible. You know, and if we Lava Coil now, we have our seal away for when they attack.
Yeah,
I mean, I think we just have to.
I'm fine with it.
I'd like to stop top decking land here. 5, 6, 7, 8.
We have drawn quite a few lands this game.
We are live for Fight with Fire next.
But we only have one under deck and they're at 13.
Yeah.
I do think they have a Disdainful Stroke, which is a little annoying.
Yeah.
I just feel like they do.
Yeah.
They
Our opponent is kind of playing. Yep. Phoenix is there. We're running on a removal fast. I guess here's our only Fight with Fire, huh? Or I guess we have one left.
On top. They played a land. Interesting.
Enigma Drake. And here's a maximized velocity.
Please, yes, this is good.
Oh no. Okay. We still seal away this, right?
I think we have to. I mean, like, even if we draw a different removal, then we can just use that on the Drake.
Yeah. And I think, you know, playing around Thud and stuff like that, like getting ourselves to a low life total.
Yeah. I mean, I don't expect it, but
that seems pretty good. Yeah. I mean, obviously, we'd rather do that to Crackling Drake.
Well, they only played 3 Crackling and one's gone already. Right?
Or most of them play 2, actually.
Really?
Like, most lists I've seen have played 2. I added a 3rd for the weekend.
But they played 4 Enigma.
4 Enigma. Yeah. Yep. 100%. Because it's just such a good sequence to go, you know, that on turn 3 and then on turn 4, chart the course double.
Rude.
Very rude. We need one more binding, huh?
Yeah, that's almost just game over.
Oh, no.
Unbelievable.
And we don't have a good draw for like a Lyra with our opponent having Beacon Bolt.
And they're beating us on the clock.
They're destroying us on the clock. Yeah. Okay, we'll get that out of there.
Red, white control. Bringing it to you.
Bringing it in.
I mean, now at this point, I think they have like Disdainful Stroke or Fire Cannonade or Lava Coil. They have a lot of removal in their hand.
Yep. And our opponent's
which, I mean, yeah, they're running low on cards. We're running
spells,
low on clock. So you just keep playing, and I'll make sure that.
Sounds great.
All right, here we go.
That's what we needed. Another land.
Oh, also they could just have Drake or another.
Niv-Mizzet. Very highly that our opponent has a Niv-Mizzet.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's perfect.
That's a good threat.
That's a good one. Anything that gains 2 dodges Disdainful Stroke. Very likely our opponent has Fiery Cannonade as well. I mean, it is a very big trap to fall into when you're playing this deck over sideboarding. Yeah. And, you know, I mean, there's a chance that our opponent did it, and they're having those kind of weak draws. But we also have 2 bindings where that locks down plenty of cards in their deck.
Yeah, one of the things with this deck in situations like this that I had to overcome is I was like, what is in their hand? It's usually cards that are binded.
Exactly, yeah.
And you're like, their hand doesn't make sense. Well, that's because...
You have 2 cards that say you cannot play things. Yeah.
So, like, if they don't have ways to deal with Ixalan's binding, they just have extra, like, dead land draws or whatever.
Exactly. Oof.
Yeah, I mean, what's going to happen? Like, this is why the deck is designed the way it is. We've dealt with a lot of the threats.
Okay, looks
Don't
like...
be another one. Okay.
But
so
yep, just one of them.
It's just one.
And I believe our opponent has 2 of them left.
Yep.
And we just have to take this out, right?
Yeah, I would for sure.
Our opponent's got to be getting annoyed at that by now.
Yeah. Just another land. All right.
That's a good one.
I love it.
The only card that just cannot be killed.
And now this could just win the game.
Yeah. Or it could lose us the game. One of the two.
Oh, I'm paying
Could just
for.
aim. Oh, I'm paying for all day.
I mean, all our opponents have to do is just draw a Kraken Drake and, like, we just die, right?
Yeah.
And they have a Beacon Bolt.
Yeah, but I don't see... maximize velocity. Those are cards you kind of have to take out. And I don't see any in the graveyard. Ooh, baby.
I mean, that's going to get coiled.
Yeah, probably.
Like, for sure.
But, I mean, Coil is not... I mean, they do have some, but it's not a card that's always a 4 of in lists. You know, Beacon Bolts kind of become... People have the fear of Lyra. You know?
Yeah.
People have the fear of Lyra. I think our opponent's highest chance here is the fact that we can't have 6 with the Danto's Vanguard. That's just... They didn't... Whoever made this deck did not think...
No! No! The third! Oh, this is scary now.
Fred, that's an 18. Beacon Bolt.
Oh, is it a crash?
It's a Beacon Bolt.
Don't crash. I feel a crash coming.
19.
Oh, the crash is lethal.
Yep.
Or no,
Maximize velocity.
No! How is this happening?
Brad, this is supposed to be a good matchup, you say. 21. Well, we did draw a lot of land.
Yeah, we did. I mean, but as the game showed, we like didn't draw that well, and all that removal got us really far in the game.
Yeah,
and we just needed a couple more threats. Now, I mean, as the game goes further like that, I feel like they have a better chance of sifting through their deck.
Yeah,
but
because we don't draw a lot of cards.
Well, at that spot in the game, though, like, that was really the only card. They had to find that last one. But they do find it faster. So... Eventually,
you draw your deck, you know? I mean, our opponent has 13 cards left in their deck.
And we didn't have, like, an Adondo's Vanguard on turn 2, which is usually just, like, the game over card.
Yep.
But I still, like, from the sample size, I'm still happy with the strategy. It's just...
100%.
It's magic. It happens sometimes.
Exactly.
It just sucks when it's on camera. But personally, I don't mind him losing tickets. So
fair enough. On that note, we'll see you back for round 3. All right, we're back for round 3.
I'm feeling good. I mean, we're only lost the first 2, so
I mean that's just 2. You
it's
know?
only 2 matches.
You can still top 8 a Grand Prix at 2 losses.
I did.
My man.
Yeah.
All right, let's get to this game here. Let's see if we can at least win one of them.
All right. I mean, we don't have the early plays, but we've got the power plays.
Exactly. And that's what Red, White Mythics is all about, am I right?
It is. We have 3. We've already talked about this. We keep at 3.
Okay, perfect.
All right. So, I mean, obviously, we hope to draw something to interact. Our opponent molds more, down to 6.
That's the spirit. All right. Our opponent did mold to 6 and put the card on top. And here I think we just lead with the tap land. Yeah. I mean, it's highly unlikely to ever matter, but...
Yeah, it won't matter. I mean, actually, I usually lead with a land that won't give away information, but it doesn't really... It's not relevant.
Sure.
Like, you can lead with a mountain.
And representing a shock is probably what
we're going to get our revenge.
Oh, yes.
But game 1, this isn't the best hand for the matchup.
That's all right. That's all right.
Oh, no. Don't play at planes.
Yeah, I know.
Don't play at planes.
Guy.
Don't play at planes.
Okay. Hooray!
All right. We're still not out of the woods.
How'd you feel?
No one drop. This is a weird start.
This is weird.
Yeah.
It definitely could still be. So, how do you feel about the Jeskai control matchup, huh, Brad?
It's not that good. That's all I need to say about it.
Yeah, the finals of the GP didn't go too hot.
I won a game.
You did.
I won a game, and game 3 didn't look terrible.
You were in it
for a while.
You were in it.
I had a chance.
All right. Well, that still doesn't give it away for sure that it's blue-red spells. I've seen some op lists, but
there's not a lot of them in there. I think we get to play against blue-red spells again.
Can we really say get to when we just got destroyed?
Yeah.
I think we should say we have to, but we did not see this card at all.
No.
And game one, it's insane.
Yeah, game one.
Game one, it's so hard to deal with.
And I was going to talk about that. I think we slam Aurelia next turn because it's more difficult to deal with.
And, I mean, you know, like getting to game 5 on turn 5 is insane. Yeah, Phoenix, I mean, Lava Coil is definitely not in high numbers for game 1, but it's still 2 of almost at the minimum, you know.
Now, actually, talk about our opponent's discard on Charter Course, because that's an interesting one to me. That means that hand has to be Drake heavy, right? Or I don't know. That's a weird discard.
Discarding an opt? Okay, so I think, I think that would mean... First of all, they do not have a Phoenix. You know, I think that's a very clear observation, but I was...
Astute observation.
Thank you. I've been practicing. You've taught me well over the years. But I think it also means that our opponent has, more than likely, not many lands. And could easily be playing the version that plays Electromancer.
Yep, that's true, actually.
That's probably the biggest thing, because, I mean, you would, especially with our opponent having an island here... You would want to be discarding a red cantrip spell anyways, because this is the only land that can cast Op on it, and you see more cards. So I would guess the Electromancer version, but really, you know, too early to tell. Yeah, I think Aurelia here is good as well.
And the Electromancer version sometimes will play at least a Beacon Bolt main. I've seen that.
Yep.
So that is something to look out for this game.
Exactly. And I think that's another reason to play Aurelia while it can't be killed. Because, I mean, there's no way that we can get this Beacon Bolted next turn, unless it's Shock Beacon Bolt.
Yep.
But that's a different story.
I would have played it main phase too.
I was just going to say, I mean, I'm learning, okay? Yeah. I'm learning, you know? You really got to maximize those triggers you avoid.
Yeah, this is a key turn of the game.
Yep. And something like Lava Coil. Oh, this looks like a Tormenting Voice.
Yeah. The options are difficult for our opponent, so it's interesting to try to figure out what's in their hand.
Yep.
And I mean, since our opponent's taking so long, clearly, again, no Phoenix.
Yeah.
And you got it.
We got it.
You're just great.
Oh, I learned from the best. You know? BBD's been teaching me all I
was waiting. Angel.
Okay.
Angel. No. Other angel.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Angels.
Oh, man, if we can complete the trifecta... This is the band together, right?
Oh, they work very well together.
I can imagine. I would like to target Aurelia. Oh, this is filthy.
It is.
This is filthy. Attack.
Now, the sad thing is it spells has such a absurdly high damage output that no life total is actually, like, out of the question.
I will agree with you to an extent, but I mean, it is very hard to get, you know, one quick swipe this early when we have a total of 10 life we're getting a turn. Like, step one is they have to answer, you know, some of this. Like, this does nothing right now, you know? I mean, especially since justice will be served next turn. Oh my god, we get a turn here.
All right, so here, though, here I don't want to play Justice Strike right away. I want to get the attack in because I don't want our opponent to play Dive Down. Because right now, we both of our... right now, our opponent is unable to do anything to our board.
Sure.
And because we have 6 toughness.
Sure.
So if our opponent puts a spell and we can Justice Strike, we might lose out on a little bit of damage from that Aurelia.
Okay.
But I don't want a Dive Down to stop us from getting another angel off the angel. So I believe that that's worth just attacking with both creatures. Yeah. And if Crackling Drake goes in front of Aurelia and then our opponent shocks it afterwards, that sucks. But I think it's okay.
I agree.
I think we still got to trade and we get to keep a removal spell. But I'm deathly afraid of just not even being able to attack this turn.
Sure.
If there's a Dive Down.
Yeah, Dive Down could just... I mean, it's an unlikely card in the main deck, but they have been popping up more and more, so it's definitely a possibility. And, I mean, the only thing with that play, if our opponent goes to Dive Down after blocks, then we Justice Strike. We miss out on the lifelink, but we're still, from either of the creatures, gaining 5, where we still get to make an angel.
I mean, now there's an argument that we just Aurelia the Lyra.
Sure.
And just not even attack with Aurelia.
Sure.
I don't know if you like that.
I don't think I do, just because, could get up to 7. No, I mean, dive down.
No, no. If their opponent plays dive, because
it would still first strike would still deal with it.
No, we could kill it in response to the dive down.
We could, but we wouldn't have to, because dive down would put it to 7 toughness. It's going up to 7 power.
And we just don't attack with the Aurelia.
And if we just don't attack with it,
I don't like that. I just like attacking with both.
Yeah.
Seeing what happens. Also, there's like Justice Strike is like the only thing that blows out any play
from our side.
From their side, this So what I'm saying is like they might go for a play here that we like
because we could only have Justice Strike.
Yeah.
And I mean, if anybody's checking at up-to-date Boros Angels list, they will notice that there is one of this card. Because I think it might be true. Oh, our opponent's giving us all of it. Ooh. Would you say Justice was served?
Justice was... No, we cast Justice Strike. Yeah, no, this is... This is a filthy turn.
Is this what you've been doing to people all this weekend?
Oh, yeah. I've been breaking Bradley. TM.
I see why you wanted to come on here. You're branding. Nice. Yes, smart.
It's just a good PR move.
We'll get you stickers made for breaking Brad.
That. Yeah. I like that.
Oh, man.
This is what I like to call angels in the battlefield.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Oh man, that felt wrong.
And it felt right. And also we just spent all that time talking about dive down, and it made us look like geniuses.
It really did.
I don't know what you're doing on the other side of the screen, but I'm assuming it's
and taking notes, of course. I mean,
oh yeah, just replay, just over and over again.
So Brad, I mean, it's the same deck, but there is a big difference in the form of Electromancer. Do you make any changes, or we just do the same thing we did?
No, I actually do.
Because I think there's one card in particular I'm thinking about that I want to keep.
That Justice Strike?
We were keeping that regardless, but I mean, I would add more after that. But.
Oh, for sure. It's so good in the matchup.
But Shock tends to stand out as me as a card we actually want in this version, but we don't want against the other one.
I do like having more Shocks because even like I said, I want as much removal as possible.
Yep.
In the matchup.
Oh, so we're bringing these in.
Yeah. But the other matchup Shock isn't good against, where it can be played in this one, and keeping an Electromancer off the board is nice in the early turns.
Yeah.
So increasing the chances of having a removal spell for that, I do enjoy. So yes, I would do that, and I would just cut more threats. Even though we did flood last round, I consider that more of an anomaly, and that's how I would do it. I'd take the Phoenixes out, and I'd take out 2 Angels. And obviously the guards.
Yep. And 2 Angels, right? You really got to specify here,
yeah. All right, try again. Sure, do it. It's your video.
And I do want to touch base on one more thing on this. Like, it seems absolutely busted if we can go on the draw mountain, Shock and Electromancer, and then untap and go Vanguard. Like, that feels absolutely disgusting.
I mean, I could also see on the draw taking out a land going to 24 since we're upping the removal, but...
I mean, we're looking to play a long game.
Yeah, I'm cool with it. I sometimes dabble with that. I haven't tried it yet. I think that's a good one. I would probably take...
I think it's between Boros, Guildgate, and Plains would be my inclination, but...
no, I think it's a red source because we increased our... Well, we can take a red out because we don't have Phoenix in our deck anymore.
Okay, but we do kind of want this for turn 1. Is there any mentality to actually taking out a Guildgate?
Well, the strategy of it, like...
And I suppose we need 2 more cards out here. Probably 2 Resplendents we want to take out here.
Well, it's either 1 Resplendent and a land or 2 Angels.
Okay.
I would take out 1 Resplendent Angel, and I would lean on taking out a Mountain.
Okay. I'll trust you on this one. Yeah, the only other inclination I would think is Boros Guildgate, maybe, just to optimize the amount of time we can have that play that I mentioned.
I don't think you can go lower on lands and multicolored sources.
You know what's going to happen right now, right? We were going to have a Shock in our opening hand and only a Guildgate, but...
We do have quite a painful mana base, but it should be fine.
Yep.
I mean, I don't like shocking that much in this deck.
This would be better as a mountain. No, actually, this would have been better as a mountain.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it is less than ideal to be having that, but, I mean, our hand curves out, and I think that's what we want to be doing. Now, we're really afraid of an Electromancer on 2.
Yeah, because we don't have an answer to it.
Exactly.
I mean, it happens. It's not the biggest deal in the world. It's not the end of the world if Electromancer lives, but I do like killing it.
Yeah, and I mean, it just comes down to the point that our opponent could have Electromancer, but to maximally punish us, they still have to have a completed rest of the hand. And that's kind of why I like leaning on the non-Electromancer version, because although it does generate the most explosive draws that you can have with Electromancers, it really makes it so when they're dealt with, your hands kind of are lackluster.
Yeah.
You know? Oh. Search for Escanta.
Well,
interesting.
I like this. They're playing they're going for like the longer game by investing a turn into Search for Escanta, where we have the aggressive curve.
Sure.
So planes it up.
And get a Vanguard going, huh?
Yeah. They're searching for Escanta where we already found a Danto.
Yeah, we don't need to search for anything at this point. So I do think, like, normally Search for Escanta is definitely an interesting choice when it comes to this, but I think our opponent trying to play a bit of a longer game against us is a little bit worse for us because we have so much removal, you know?
Yeah, no, it is smart. And also, Search for Escanta is this type of card that in Standard, it's a lot of play last season, and I felt like it was pretty good for a while. That is very unfair.
Just the way we wrote it up.
But Search for Escanta looks better in decks like this than control decks right now, and that's why we're seeing Azur's Gateway, because of things like this. Opt, all the charter courses, all the ways to field the graveyard cantrips. That's going to flip way faster.
Sure.
And we're just fortunate to have a very aggressive start.
Yep.
And if we didn't have that, we would line up really poorly against this search.
Yeah. Like if this was Seal and Ixalan's Binding or something, you know, I mean, it would still be a hand we would have kept. Right, exactly. But Adanto's Vanguard is just exactly what you want in this matchup on 2, you know? I mean, and in just almost every matchup. The card is just unbelievable right now. So our opponent's deep in the tank with the discard. Arcline Phoenix coming in a second here, I imagine.
Well, there's the bolts.
Our best friend, Lyra's best friend, Beacon Bolt.
And that's another play pattern that you might see.
Ooh, missed the land drop.
Oh, no way.
Yep.
No, they're going to second main it.
Almost got shocked. Okay, so I'm going to attack first.
Yeah.
So our opponent could have shock and be baited out to get 4 damage in. We'd much rather our Vanguard get shocked right now than a history token.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I think they're just going to take 3. They're not going to shock it at this point.
Yeah.
But yeah, just play Clifftop and play history.
I like it.
And yeah, so like one of the interesting things here is, now I'm always tempted to get card advantage, but if I have a Lyra and I see them aggressively put a Beacon Bolt in the graveyard, that might mean that they have a really good hand that they like other cards.
Mm-hmm.
And let's say I didn't have the history, I might actually be tempted, because we have Lyra, to just play Daredevil and exile the Bolt right now.
Okay.
Because it means that their hand has to interact with the Lyra, not just their graveyard.
Yeah.
Even though I'm losing a card, I'm technically gaining a card because I'm lowering their chance of having a good removal spell.
That's fair. I do think Beacon Bolt is one of those cards that when you have it early in your opening hand, you almost want to be putting it in the graveyard all the time, because it still gains value there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we're not going to have to worry about Phoenix coming back. But next turn, we do have to worry about a lot of stuff next turn. And Search for Escanta flipping. Now we have to worry about... So our opponent did have the option to Beacon Bolt a token here, but chose not to. Ooh.
That's really good.
One thing I like doing after a history lesson is going right back for some more history.
That is just not true. He hates history.
That's true. I really do. Okay, so now I think we're faced with a couple choices. Attack first, which is what I'm kind of leaning on, but I think our other option is fight with fire before we attack. Or attacking, seeing what our opponent does, and then playing History Lesson, and then Sacred Foundry tap. I think it's between Fight and Fire and History Lesson. Or in History of Benalia.
Yeah. Of course it is. As it's the really only 2 cards we can cast.
I mean, we can hold open Seal Away for the very realistic Phoenix that's coming back next turn, but
I'm leaning towards just attacking with both and seeing if there's a trade. Sometimes there is.
Yep.
Sometimes they just need to get these tokens off the ground.
I mean, yeah, this is scary.
And it is scary, and there's only 4 cards in hand, so I just attack with both.
Yeah, because I actually want to block here. I want them to block.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think we're in the spot where if they block, it means that they don't have much utility for it.
Sure.
But
sure.
I'm willing to give them the option.
And a small chance that they just want Electromancer to go to the graveyard to flip search for his cannon next turn and cast a Niv-Mizzet. You know, I mean, that's a play scary, pattern that could be around.
That is very true. But yeah, in these situations, I think that we just don't have enough information not to attack.
Yep.
And if we don't attack, that might mean that like they get to like. So now, I mean, I just played the history
because, I mean, first of all, you know, a play pattern a card I'm really afraid of if I play another history here is Fiery Cannonade.
But I feel like it would have came.
It would have not only came, but our opponent would not have played this.
Exactly.
Yeah. So that's the only card that I'd be afraid of playing it, but it just doesn't make sense that our opponent has it right now.
No.
And it's very likely that our opponent, when they bring in Fiery Cannonade, takes out Goblin Electromancer and only brings it in against these heavy token decks. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we're going to go with this. There's some mentality. I guess Syncopate, our opponent could have still Syncopated, but that's not a very popular card. Well, we said this was a very painful hand, but we haven't taken a point of damage yet.
We drew the other lands.
Yeah, that's been nice.
We drew the perfect amount of lands so
yep.
far. Oh, no play either. It feels like the hand might be a little clogged up.
Exactly. It could be really clogged up with, you know...
But the bolt seems weird, too. I don't know what's in our opponent's hand without using any other mana.
It's tough to...
Is it like a Rel or something?
3 mana here. Enigma Drake?
What? Deep Freeze? Not doing the math.
Yeah, probably not realizing. Yep. Okay. So we're looking at a possibly pretty good turn here. I discarded a land snap, so I'm guessing a flood here, you know?
Or just knew that was going to happen.
Yeah, but our opponent also did put a Chart the Course into the graveyard, which is interesting if our opponent was flooded.
Yeah, that doesn't make much sense either.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so they do have both. That's interesting. But now having to leave up a mountain, I think they're just dead. Yeah,
I think it's just... I mean, we clear the blocker here. Oh.
There's nothing we can do with it.
Oh, it's still cool.
Yeah. I still like drawing it.
And we can get rid of Beacon Bolt. We can, we can fight with fire and get rid of Beacon Bolt.
For other turns. But yeah, let's just,
let's just get rid of this, right?
Yeah, let's see if we win.
Are we about to win our first match here?
We might. Don't go overboard.
Oh, our opponent is F6.
All right, let's see what happens.
Get on in there. Your block is accepted.
Can 2 brothers combined go 1, 2 in a Droppin Baums. We did it!
We did it. Okay, we finally won a match. We are 1-2. Stick around. We got a deck tech here with Breaking Brad Nelson coming in next. Oh yeah, we got you for it all.
Oh no.
We get the inside of Brad here on his baby here coming up.
No,
the inside scoop. All right, and welcome to the deck tech here. We got one.
We did. We won a match. It took 2 of the greatest standard minds combined
to 1-2 a Dropping Baums.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, it's a Breaking Brad, right?
Oh, to 1-2 a Breaking Brad.
Yeah, 1-2 is a Breaking Brad.
Exactly. Yeah. If it were have been of Dropping Baums,
it's a 3-0.
It would have been a 3-0.
I know. You're so great.
So I mean, even though you brought us down with your play skill, how about I take some of your insight on some of the choices of cards that you decided to go with?
The thing he really uses to be successful.
Exactly. Your deck ideas.
With your play skill.
I didn't want to say it, but yeah.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, I only took 2nd in New Jersey at a standard GP.
That's true. Brad was so close to keeping New Jersey's tournament finishes in the family, but
yeah, we didn't get it.
Oh well. So I want to ask you about a few of these cards here because like some of the numbers are pretty interesting to me. And I think starting up first is 2 shocks. Like, how do you come to 2 shocks when you're building a deck like this?
Well, that's Brian Brown-Duin's fault because he wanted to put shock in the deck really badly.
Okay.
He was like, 2 shocks is the best number of the card.
Didn't Brian Brown-Duin also... Like, I think he played a similar list, but didn't he play Stone Quarry... Stone Quarry Angels? Is that what that land is called?
Yeah, it's called Stone Quarry. And,
yeah.
Well, many people don't know this. BBD is a rebel without a cause.
He really is.
And he played 2 different art Boros Guildgates and a Stone Quarry. I mean, wild.
He's a madman.
He is revolutionary.
He is a madman. We need one of these type of people on our team at Genesis, really, to be the outside thinkers here.
I mean, you really have to fit every role on a team, right?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
You don't want a bunch of the same kind of person.
Exactly.
So that's why we have a BBD.
Exactly. Full of character.
But yeah, so 2 shocks is mostly because we were getting down to the last minute and we didn't like a lot of other cards. We tried Dauntless Bodyguard in that. We tried Resourceful Cleric. We even tried Knight of Grace, but Knight of Grace is getting worse since all the green decks are really going around. Either they're playing Druid of the Cowl or Wildgrowth Walker. It's just not really getting in there correctly. So I didn't like that card either. And along with the other 2 drops, sometimes Adonto Vanguard is bad in a matchup, sometimes Tocatli Honor Guard is bad. And if you draw one of those in a matchup that's bad game 1, along with a Knight of Grace, you really don't have the power behind the deck.
Sure.
So we just thought that 2 shocks could sometimes allow you to use your excess mana to just stay alive, at least like not lose ground in the early game.
And it seems like this deck is a deck that, I mean, on turn 4 I can see like 2/2 drops and stuff, but it seems like a deck that really kind of just casts 1 spell a turn. And Shock gives you that kind of ability to kind of cast the second one.
Yeah, and that's just it. Sometimes you go History, Shock, get that 2-drop through, and that's really good. Sometimes you play Rekindling Phoenix into Aurelia into a Shock. It's sequencing these turns. Sometimes it's good. I mean, to be fair, at the Grand Prix, I drew it so infrequently that it was great.
So you just, instead of drawing this, you just drew this card on turn 2 every time. Huh?
I drew pretty well at the Grand Prix, I'm not going to lie.
I mean, but, you know, you're one of the best standard player, if not the best standard player. I think you built a very good deck that was focused in on 2 matchups in particular that I think you're... Just looking at the list spells out I beat these matchups, and it's Golgari and blue-red spells.
Yeah, at the tournament itself, I went 5-1 against Golgari, where I got super unlucky against Paul Dean, my arch nemesis. And then
it's weird to say arch nemesis when Paul Dean's the literal nicest person you could have ever meet in your entire life.
He's a really good friend. But I went 5-1 against Golgari and 4-0 against blue-red spells. I played them a lot.
Okay.
I did go 1-2 against Jeskai, and... going in,
that's about par, right?
I was. It surprised me.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the lesson to take away from this deck list, and with Standard, it's going to evolve. This is like a very unique version and take. Yeah. And Standard, we're going to be moving around removal and things like that. Removal threats, it's all going to be rotating. But when we were in crunch time in the final minutes, I just put every card that felt good that week into my deck. And now that sounds... really elementary, right? Like it sounds maybe foolish.
It sounds, and maybe even a little bit forced.
Yeah,
you know.
But so what I realized is every week certain cards are going to be better than they were, and certain cards are going to be worse than they were. And no matter how much no many other cards that I could have played and that I wanted to, it didn't feel good, and the cards weren't doing what I wanted to do. So I said, you know what? I'm just going to play the cards that feel great when I cast them every time, and I'm just going to see what happens, because this deck really is just mythical threats and removal spells. That's all it is.
Yeah.
And I think that that's how Boros Angels is going to play out for the rest of this format, and it's going to take a lot of different shapes. Much like you think like Golgari decks can do all these different things, I think that this deck can as well. When there's not a lot of Rekindling Phoenixes, We might see Lightning Strike come back into the deck over Lava Coils in the main deck.
Yep.
We might see different 2-drops. Takali Honor Guard is clearly not just this format all-star. Like, every time it's like, well, no deck can beat turn 2 Takali Honor Guard.
2 mana, 1/3.
We
Let's
got
go.
it. Yeah, so, like, we can see, we might see this deck take a lot of different shapes. Like, when Drakes maybe, like, if they go away from the format, we might see Shalai come back into the format, because that card gets embarrassed by all these 4 toughness threats running around.
Sure.
But if there's a reason to play Shalai, we might play it again.
Okay.
And so I feel like each week, if you play this deck, if this is your deck of choice, honestly, just put the cards that feel good, and don't be afraid to just get creative, because all I did, honestly, was the last day, I was like, these are the cards I like, I'm playing them, and they felt awesome.
Yeah, no, I mean, that makes a lot of sense. And I mean, I think also, like, a card that I saw in a lot of standard Boros list was Conclave Tribunal instead of Ixalan's Binding. And I mean, I always thought that, you know, sure, going Honor Guard into a turn 3 exile effect is great, but it didn't feel like... It felt like you had to play a specific game to that, and you kind of had to flood it with creatures more.
Well, the reason that I made that switch is because every time I cast Conclave Tribunal, it was either because I didn't hit my 4th land, which is already a losing strategy. Like, yes, it could maybe keep you in a game.
Yep.
But every time I cast it on a Crackling Drake, I just was like, oh, this was a bad exchange. And I'm like, well, why don't I just play Ixalan's Binding? That would feel good.
So, like, to just lock down blue-red spells deck, because I was playing it, was that your only motivation to have a better card in that matchup?
No, I'm not going to answer that, no.
I plead the fifth.
Yeah, I plead the fifth.
So I think we touched on a good chunk of cards here. Like, one thing I loved about this list was 4 Lava Coil. This card, I think, is just at an all-time high right now. It just, I mean, it deals with so many things right now.
I mean, that was the joke that I made. I'm playing 8, right? Like, I kept making that joke to everyone. They were like, Lava Coil seems so good this week. And I'm like, yeah, I'm playing 8. And they're like, what? And I'm like, see ya. I'm not going to tell you.
And then
figure that riddle out.
And then they get Direfleet Daredevil the next round, and it becomes very apparent.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. All my opponents, when I cast that card, I mean, I boarded in against a lot of matchups, and that's in the sideboard guide. Yeah. But, like, even against, like, Golgari opponents, like, really late in the game, they're like, kill your Takaliana Guard. Yeah. Then like play some Explorer or Chupacabra, and then play Planeswalker, and I'm like, kill your Planeswalker. And they're like, what?
Yeah, I like that. I remember talking to you about what you bring in certain matchups, and you, against Golgari, you have Takali Honor Guard and Direfleet Daredevil in the same deck, right? It's just a perfect combo together, right?
Don't be afraid of innovation.
Brad's Synergy Master, Brad breaking Brad's Synergizer Master here.
Some people think I'm a genius. Some people think it's not true. But
it makes sense. I mean, like, they have to kill Honor Guard, and when they have to kill Honor Guard, those are the spells that you get to use against it.
Well, yeah, after sideboard, you're either hitting a removal spell, which is great. Sometimes it's
cast
a premium.
down.
It's a premium.
Yeah.
Well, that's a bad removal spell, but you can still cast it.
Yeah.
But you can still cast down it. But all their premiums are in, right? All of their Assassin's Trophies, all their Veracity attempts are in. Yep. So you're hitting all their premium threats, but also you can find with Find Finality.
Okay.
And, it's gross. Like,
what's the best Daredevil you had last weekend?
The best?
The coolest, the best, whatever. Give me one Daredevil story.
I mean, it's not. I mean, it's just dirty. I played against. I was on the play game 3 against Blue Red Spells. Okay. And I went Adanto Vanguard into Direfleet Daredevil, Charter Course, draw 2 cards.
Okay.
And then Ixalan Bindings, their Drake.
Oh my god.
It was like, it was just full engines revved.
So, unbeatable threat, a Muldrifter into a card that they can't ever beat.
In my winning in, my opponent did kill my Takali Honor Guard, played a bunch of Explore creatures with a Wild Growth Rocker in play. Okay. And then I just untapped and killed their Wild Growth Rocker, and then blocked their Explore creaters. And
God,
so, like, yeah, it just felt awesome.
I mean, it's great. We'll get to, I think we touched base on about every card here in the main deck. Let's get to some of the other sideboard options. So we have the 4 Daredevils, which mainly for Golgari and blue-red spells, I would say. Is that about it?
I bring them in the mirror, and you can bring them in against mono red and I bring them in against Jeskai because they can attack and they can hit their spells.
So what matchup don't you bring them in against?
Selesnya
Green,
decks.
white? Yeah.
Selesnya decks, white weenie decks.
You're not interested in March of the Multituding people?
I mean, I would be, but I feel like I'm behind if that's the game plan.
Yeah, I think if your best bet is convoking and putting in 2/1/1s, you're probably
gonna lose. I mean, just so in general, this format right now is a bunch of creatures and removal spells, and after sideboard, you play all your premium removal spells in the matchup. So Direfleet Daredevil is just a card that can be good after sideboard in any deck that plays a ton of creature removal spells.
Yeah.
And you're a deck that needs answers. Like if you don't answer my threats, like that's how I won a game against Golgari. I had 4 lands and an Aurelia or a Lyra in hand, and my opponent just played Carnage Tyrant, and that's all I had. But I top decked Aurelia into the land for the Lyra, and neither threat died, and I got attacked by a Carnage Tyrant for like 4 turns, and it didn't matter because I was just 10. I was 10 lifelink for. So if you don't kill the threats, they get out of hand, and that's why Resplendent Angel is really good late in the game with all these creature removal. You go back and forth. Yes, it's a 3-drop you can play that's good on curve, but late in the game, it's better than any threat in your deck because it's creating more. Okay.
And I mean, I guess that is like the one situation where, like, if they just play Carnage Tyrant and then go Vraska's Contempt, you know, you don't have a target. You know, I mean, if like...
Oh, no, that you're cold to that, but Carnage Tyrant is not that great in the matchup because you have so many fast threats in the air. You kind of just... You put them into a situation that if they want to race, but you have early advantage, they can't catch up.
Okay. So I know I was with you in the testing process, and you say you're cold to that particular card. Like something like Settle the Wreckage kind of sticks out to me as an answer to that. Did you just feel it wasn't worth it for that kind of in particular thing? Like maybe good against Selesnya tokens as well, but
I almost played Settle the Wreckage for just the tokens matchups or hyper aggressive white aggressive Dauntless or Marshall.
Yeah, just like mono white aggressive decks.
Vanilla Marshall decks.
Yep.
But I ended up excluding them because I wanted to like really hammer to play those kind of cards or to play the Banefires or play the anti-control cards. I rather like just hope my game plan works against Selesnya. And that allowed me to play a higher density of the cards in the matchups where I think higher density is needed, like Golgari and Izzet, where the games go longer. They can go for a long game. I have to make sure that if they deal with my threats, I don't just flood out and die. And to do that is a high density of very high impactful cards, which like the Immortal Sun against Golgari is just lights out if they don't have like
Brontodon or Assassin's Trophy.
But they use them early. Like Tokali Honor Guard will get Assassin's Trophy on turn 2 some number of the time. Because they just have to deploy their Explorer Troop.
If you have a Jade Light, next turn, like, what are you going to do? Like, you may be giving your opponent an extra land, but you're taking away from resources of yourself here. And most of the time, you need those resources to be hitting your land drops, to be finality or Carnage Tyranting on time. Like, that's the whole appeal of Golgari, is that it has very smooth draws, but Honor Guard really stops that.
Up big time.
And then you improve your opponent's draws by having to Assassin's Trophy it early, but you don't have a choice sometimes.
Exactly.
You know?
And so and this deck is going to change and flow. Like this looks much different than the early versions, but that didn't mean that the early versions were bad.
Yeah.
I think the trick with a deck like this with a bunch of mythics and removal spells is to not look at trying to find the most efficient version that you could find in a vacuum of the format, right? You want to find the most efficient version of like a Marvel deck or something like that.
Sure.
But this is a metagame deck, and you want to evolve it. So think of it like that. Think of like watching the trends and moving the pieces around.
And I think what you say there is just perfect because I just think that's what Standard is going to be about for a while because there's different ways to build blue-red spells. There's different ways to build Jeskai. There's different ways to build Golgari. Every deck can shift based on it, and I think that this is going to create such a healthy, fun Standard metagame. And if there's one thing that you know about us is that we love Standard. And if we get to love testing for Standard, I mean, this is fairy tale Christmas land.
I feel like a good year's coming for us.
Let's hope so. Yeah. Let's hope so. Well, I think we basically touched on all the cards here. I really just want to thank Brad so much for stopping by with me. It's been a pleasure, and I absolutely love this deck. I'm going to continue to pursue it, and we'll see you next week here for another Droppin' Bombs.
So are you staying over?
Yes. Yes, I am.